Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Kushi, and I'll be reviewing a TED Talk done by Rick Doblin entitled The Future of Psychedelic Assisted Psychotherapy. In the TED Talk, Doblin discusses how psychedelics have the potential to help mental health patients with their trauma and illnesses by tackling the root of these problems. Rick Doblin is the founder of MAPS organization, which are known for concentrating on the safe and legal use of psychedelics in therapy. He explores the science of psychedelics, explaining how these substances, such as LSD, psilocybin, and MDMA, influence the brain. So, psychedelics are substances that alter an individual's perception, mood, and cognitive functions. He aims to introduce the benefits of psychedelics and provide his point of view on the importance of these substances in psychotherapy, as we know that when psychedelics were first introduced, they were expanding quite quickly in the field of psychotherapy. However, its misuse is what led to their ban. It is also mentioned that neuroscientists were employing psychedelics as a tool to investigate human consciousness and how the brain works, as well as investigating connections between meditation and mindfulness. An example provided was of lifelong Zen meditators that take psilocybin during a meditation retreat, resulting in long term benefits and brain changes, which is also something that I had come across during my year 11 studies when I was researching on the benefits of meditation. That Buddhists would also take a small dose of psychedelics to enhance their meditation performance and techniques due to the recognition of therapeutic potential of psychedelics. Doblin clearly explains how psychedelics work by decreasing the activity in the brain's default mode network, which is what he called it, the default mode network. In another way, we can say it's a sense of ourself and our ego, thus creating a shift in our awareness, as it is our ego which creates our perception of particular things. When removed, only then we can see ourselves on a larger scale as part of a whole. As well as highlighting the positive effects of psychedelics, Dublin also went in further by explaining how the particular use of psychedelics can influence a positive or a negative reaction. He gave an example of one of his former patients who suffered from PTSD due to sexual assault. Marcella, which was her name, she was given a MDMA in a recreational setting. However, instead of helping her, it worsened her situation as her memories came flooding back, overwhelming her suicidal thoughts. However, given MDMA in a different setting, like in her therapeutic sessions with Dr. Dublin, she was able to overcome her mind and move past her traumatic experiences. Shown in this image, you can see the less activity in the prefrontal cortex and the hippocampus. The hippocampus which is known for where we permanently retain our memories, and the prefrontal cortex, which is for our reasoning. The amygdala, which initiates the fight or flight response automatically as a result of emotions such as fear, is found to be overactive in patients with PTSD. In order to allow traumatic memories to be remitted and transferred into long term storage, MDMA has the opposite effect on the brain as it decreases the activity in the amygdala and increases prefrontal cortex activity, thus enhancing the connection between the amygdala and hippocampus. Without being aware of ecstasy's medical use, the Drug Enforcement Administration took the decision to make it illegal. MAPS was founded in 1986 and took 30 years to develop data to present to FDA as evidence. Dublin mentions a PTSD patient in the program, Tony, who was a veteran in one of the pilot studies, receiving MDMA on 3 occasions, separated by 12 90-minute non-drug psychotherapy sessions for preparation and integration. The treatment approach is called inner directed therapy, which is the name given by Dr. Dublin, which supports the patient to experience whatever's emerging within their mind or bodies. Throughout his therapeutic journey, Tony, he had understood that his PTSD was a means for him to connect with and remember his friends who at that time were in the same incident as him but were not lucky enough to live through it. So it was a form of guilt or a form of way for him to connect with them, to remember them, to keep their memories with him. And then after that, he also opted to leave the study after realizing he was using opiates as a form of escape. The treatment helped him get to the root of his illness and come to a realization of his own, which helped him overcome his disorder as he is no longer suffering from PTSD. Dublin's collected data showed that 23% of people who received therapy without active MDMA no longer had PTSD at the end of the treatment, but with MDMA included, the results more than doubled to 56%. There will be psychedelic clinics set up to offer spiritual experiences, personnel development, and couples therapy, and MDMA assisted psychotherapy for PTSD, which carries some risk factors because dealing with psychedelics requires proper training. But I think MAPS is handling that matter possibly quite well, requiring therapists to complete their training program and limiting MDMA use to supervised clinic settings. Dublin concluded that talk by announcing that the organization is globalizing by conducting phase 3 studies in Israel, Canada, the US, and now are starting their research in Europe and training therapists in China, which is very exciting and beneficial for the field of psychotherapy. And after all, psychedelic is like any other tool, which can be either used in a positive manner or a negative manner.